Welcome to the C.L.I.M.B. This is a show dedicated to helping singers, songwriters, and indie artists like you create leverage in the music business. That's what you're going to need in today's music business. Man, publishing companies aren't hiring because they think you might be a good songwriter, and record labels aren't signing artists, and management companies aren't picking up artists, and because they think they got potential and they can develop you because you're a diamond in the rough. They want to see actual results already. So you're going to have to start creating those results. And the more results you create, the more leverage you make, the better deals you're going to get, the farther you're going to go. Easy peasy, right? That's why we called it the C.L.I.M.B, C-L-I-M-B, creating leverage in the music business. That's what we're going to teach you here. And the genius that came up with that acronym is my good friend and co-host, Mr. Brent Baxter. Brent is not only genius, but he's also an award-winning hit songwriter with cuts by Alan Jackson, Randy Travis, Lady Antebellum, Joe Nichols, and more. And he helps songwriters like you turn pro by revealing how you write like a pro, how to do business like a pro, and then on a regular basis, he's got programs that'll help get you in touch in front of the pros, in front of the publishers, to get you a shot, get you an opportunity. So you can find Brent very easily at songwritingpro.com. Once again, that's songwritingpro.com.
And I would like to introduce you to my co-host, Johnny Dwinell. Johnny owns Daredevil Production. They help you find your sound, and they help you grow your audience so that you can become the artist that everybody loves, so you can get paid. Daredevil has worked with multi-platinum artists like Colin Ray, Tracy Lawrence, Ty Herndon, and Andy Griggs, just to name a few. You can find Johnny at daredevilproduction.com. That's production, singular, no S, and there is no S because there is no other Johnny D.
How you doing, brother?
Hello.
What's going on?
Man, it's just a little bit of raininess going on outside my window, and but it's a good day. It's a good day. Get to share some knowledge.
Right. Oh, what are we going to talk about today?
We're going to not talk about the Arkansas Razorbacks. All right, we're going to talk because they...
Or the Green Bay Packers.
Or the Packers. There we go. We can commiserate.
Goodness gracious sakes.
Anyway, sorry, I shouldn't have brought that up. All right, so today we're going to talk about whether or not, as a songwriter, you should hold back your best song ideas.
Ooh.
Like, yes, should you hold them back? Are there times when you go, I'm not writing that with you? Or should you always be like, best I got, I'm coming with it? So we're going to talk about that today, and it matters. The choice I made on this has changed my life, and we're going to get into that. So,
right on. Well, before we do, let's take care of a little bit of business.
Yes, exactly.
Hey, guys, there is amazing stuff going on in the C.L.I.M.B community on Facebook. All the climbers, it grows. Every week it grows. Mm-hmm. And there's songwriters in there talking about writing songs. They're hooking up, like doing co-writes, creating relationships. There are indie artists talking about marketing, and everybody's in there asking questions and giving really, really solid advice. You know, like, so it's a great hang. It's very active. Join the C.L.I.M B community. Just search for it on Facebook. Ask to be let in. We let everybody in as long as you have a picture and you don't look like a bot. And you just have to be good boys and girls, or you will be roadhoused. Subscribe to the podcast. Everything comes automatically in your podcast player then. For every Tuesday for the full episodes, every Friday for the mini-sodes, for Expand Your Brand, and for Song Title Challenge. And it just, you don't have to worry about the marketing. It just comes right to you, and you can sort of consume them as you wish. Best compliment you can give us is share it. Tell somebody about it. If you're listening to this podcast and you're finding good information, good value, tell your friends, tell your bandmates, tell your peers, man, hey, this is a lot of good stuff going on here. You need to start thinking about this. Share it. And then finally, take 30 seconds and leave a 5-star rating and review. It lets people know that are thinking about kind of dipping their toe in the water, whether or not we're legit. Right?
That's right. We would like to thank the over 100 of you that have left 5-star reviews. And we'd also like to send a special thank you to that one person that left a 1-star.
That's right. Sorry you had
Whoever
a bad
you
day.
are, I'm sorry. It was probably the nepotism episode that got us that 1 star that we ruffled some feathers, I guess, maybe. I don't know. Right. But I hope your day has gotten better.
Hey, we want to give a shout out to...
trouble to go to just to, leave it once.
Yeah, right? Take 30 seconds to leave one.
Like, I didn't like what I heard. I'm going to find them. I'm a 1-star there.
You know what? I tell you what, though. You know what it could have been? Here's where I'm spinning this in my head. Because I've done this before on accident. Like when you slide across those stars.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you slide back the wrong way or something.
Oh, it takes them away?
Yeah. It takes them away.
I bet we just made someone mad. I'm just going to own it.
You think so? I mean, I'm not for everybody.
I really don't.
You didn't. You're sweet as pie. I got the edge here. They probably pissed off at me.
So anyway, but hey,
we want to give a shout out to our partner, Disc Makers, as well. We are proud to partner with them. Disc Makers have been helping out indie artists since before it was a thing, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, we've been working with them. I mean, personally, I've been working with them doing duplication on CDs for all my artists. If I get to influence that decision, I don't always get to, but when I do, we go to Disc Makers, man. The artwork, the software they have to get your panels ready and everything for physical product is astounding. It's really good. It's really easy. It's very cool, and they deliver, on time, man. So it's good. Mm-hmm. You can reach them at discmakers.com, www.discmakers.com. And
and while you're there, click on the Guides and Resources tab and download some of their excellent free guides. They've just revised and expanded their home studio handbook, which has a ton of great information and advice for newbies and studio veterans. So again, you can find them at discmakers.com, discmakers.com, or give them a call at 800-468-9353. That's 800-468-9353.
Awesome. So
thank you,
should you hold back your best song ideas? And if you should, who for?
All right. So here's the situation. Are you sitting on your A-list song ideas waiting for that someday when you might get in the room with a hit writer or hit artist? Are you intentionally not writing those titles or ideas with your current co-writers because they're unknown, right? Your co-writers are unknown, they're unproven, or they don't have publishing deals. Now, I understand that can be tempting. After all, you don't want to, waste your brilliant idea with anyone less than a hit songwriter or artist. It's tempting, but I think it's also a mistake. So you want to know why I think it's a mistake?
Tell me.
I have 4 reasons. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro.
Stay in Arkansas, pal.
There you go. I'm bilateral.
You don't want to go any farther south.
I know. That was a quick check of my coffee. The coffee said you ain't had enough of me yet.
International man of mystery.
I know.
Uno, dos,
hola.
cuatro.
Anyway, so 4 reasons. All right. Almost went to Chinese for a minute there. All right. So here are 4 reasons you should not save your best ideas for that mysterious someday. This is why you should bring your best ideas to every co-write. Okay. Number 1, today's unknown co-writer might be tomorrow's hit songwriter. I'll tell you a little story, so gather around. So Aaron Enderlin was definitely higher up the Nashville ladder than I was when we started writing together. And she still is, by the way. But anyway, back then, she was just a college student with no cuts to her credit. So it's a good thing that I decided to pitch her the idea and some of the lyric on Monday Morning Church instead of waiting until someday when I get to Nashville and I get to write with a real hit songwriter. Because you know what? Aaron was a hit songwriter, and so was I. It just so happened we were supposed to write that first hit with each other.
Yeah, and Aaron was from Arkansas, right?
Yeah. That's how I was still living back in Little Rock. She was from a town outside of Little Rock called Conway, and connected through some mutual business, music business people. That's how she got on my radar, and I got on hers, went out to see her, and we started writing together a little bit. She was in college. I was out of college and day jobbing in the cubicle ant farm, right?
Yeah.
And, it's a good thing I didn't think, well, this Monday Morning Church idea, that's a hit. I'm not going to write with this college girl. I'm going to wait because I'm going to move to Nashville. I'm going to keep it in my hip pocket till I can write it with whoever the hit songwriters of the day, would have been.
Yeah.
Whoever would have been on my mind. It's a good thing I didn't do that because that was a hit song and I was supposed to write with Aaron. It's a good thing I didn't wait till I could write with a hit songwriter.
Well, you remember we talk about we throw around the word in terms of Seth Godin language. It's called just publish, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not to be confused with publishing your song or getting a publishing deal or anything like that in the music industry. But just in other words, just put it out there. Just do the work and put it out there, because that could be the thing that
changes your life.
The difference, right? That could be the thing that changes your life. And if you're sitting around waiting for the perfect moment, it's never going to come. You know, it's never going to come. And if it does show up, it's going to show up to somebody who might be, say, unprepared. right? Because you didn't do the work on some really good titles before.
Exactly. I finally get in the room with those hit writers, and I've not done the work about writing my best titles the best way I can.
And maybe that's the song. Maybe, okay, so you get a hit with it, right? It's like your biggest hit, I think. But maybe that's the song that you write that gets everybody, turns everybody's heads, that turns the publisher's head. It's like, you know what? There's something going on here. Well, or an artist, a local artist's head, or another songwriter that you're trying to get with. Going to be like, man, I like that. Okay, that's your idea that you came up with that. Yeah, I co-wrote that. Okay, now it's like a calling card. It's not. We talk about leverage, right? That title's one form of leverage, but a finished song, man, that's another form of leverage.
It sure is, and actually that segues nicely into the number 2 reason you should bring your best stuff to every co-write. Your best work creates better opportunities. So simply put, your B-list work isn't going to open A-list doors. Your B-list work is not going to open A-list doors. So you want to always bring your best. And as your best gets better, you'll start to get noticed by folks higher up the ladder. Now, if nothing else, think of your best stuff as bait for better co-writes. So here's an example.
That's good.
Thank you. I'll think about this for a minute. Here's an example. You're a lyricist, but you've only written with kind of B-list melody people. Opportunity might happen when a publisher says, wow, man, what a great lyric and idea. Let me get you with some of my melody writers. I think the melodies can be stronger here. And you're like, yeah, I don't write melodies much. I'm more a lyric person. Like, let me get you with some of my melody people. So they wouldn't have heard that if you hadn't written that best idea with the best people available at the time. You know, so say if Monday Morning Church had never gotten cut, but even before it got cut, so it rocketed up to one of my best songs. Well, judging by my royalty statements, my best song.
Yeah.
You know, Aaron and I had written that. Neither of us had publishing deals. We didn't have much going on. I moved to Nashville after we wrote it. She was already here. And kind of what you mentioned, Johnny, that song helped me, started getting me noticed. Because I'd go play it for NSAI publisher nights or what publisher meetings I could start getting. I'd play it for them. And a lot of people passed on it, but other people are like, man, there's something there. Oh, I love that song.
And then keep in mind what you're talking about, just to be absolutely clear, is before it got cut by Alan Jackson.
Exactly. This was
turning heads. Yeah.
One of a billion other songs floating around Nashville. And I was just one of thousands of unknown songwriters without anything going on. And so that song was my calling card. Or one of them. I mean, I didn't know what it was going to become. I didn't know that. But I know that people in the business responded to it. Now, most of them thought it could never be a single just because of how the song is built and how sad it is and slow and all that stuff. But they're like, that's a dang good song. I love that song. Yeah, I'll meet with you. What else you got? You know, and it started opening some doors for opportunity even before it got recorded by a major artist. And so my best work was creating better opportunities for me. Now, if I'd still been sitting on that, then they wouldn't have had that song to associate with me. And I'd have been just one more guy with all these other songs that weren't standing out. Because really, that was standing out above most of my other work.
You would have been, you know what you would have been? Here's the sad fact. You would have been a really good songwriter making really bad business decisions.
Yeah. Yeah, because that would have been a bad business decision.
Yeah.
If I'd been pocketing that,
you could be the guy
that hit writer. Do what?
I said you could be the guy that's sour, like, well, nobody wants to talk to me, but well, you haven't showed them anything good yet because you're rat holing all the best titles that you got, you know, and you're not publishing, you're not doing anything. So it's like it's not getting out there.
Yeah, I think it's important because if you, like in my situation, I'm dependent on melody writers. Now, a lot of my writers, Aaron included, other people, they input a lot on lyric as well, but lyric is what I do. I'm not going to write a hit melody. So when I put stuff out there, I'm trusting that there's going to be a great melody put on it. And so sometimes they can make you want to hold back your best stuff and go until I get with way people up in the stratosphere. But the thing is, I mean, that song opened doors for me that a lot of my other catalog couldn't have opened. Not because of Aaron, but because of the song. And that helped me get in the room with some people that had success and were pro writers that I probably couldn't have gotten in the room with. And this is still before it got recorded. Started getting people interested in maybe working with me or hooking me up with some other co-writes, started creating better opportunities that I wouldn't have had if I hadn't been presenting my best work in a form that, was a song.
That's right.
Because I thought Erin was good. She had more going on than anyone else I was working with, but she wasn't a hit writer. Not yet. So you ready for number 3?
Yes, sir.
You should always bring your best to every co-write because there's more where that came from. If you keep writing, you're going to have more ideas and you'll get better ideas and you'll write better grooves, get better guitar licks. Your creativity is a renewable resource. Okay. It's not like you only have so much money in the bank and once it's all gone, it's gone. You only have so much creativity in the bank and once it's spent, it's spent. No, the more you use your creativity, the more you get cash flow, the more it's renewable and you go open at the bank. Oh, new money in there. Let me go spend some more creativity. You go back the next day. Oh, I spent more. Look, there's more in there. It doesn't run out. The more you use it, the more of it you get, I think. So trust that your current quote unquote best stuff is not the only best stuff you'll ever have. I think that's part of it. Sometimes we get so precious with our ideas. Oh, I got to sit on this one for just the right thing and just the right. You'll have more.
You know where that comes from?
Space for that new thing to come in.
Yeah, that is that happens when you're not operating from a mindset of abundance.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Scarcity mindset.
It's a scarcity mindset. So you think I'm only going to have these, and that's a lie. That's a myth. That
it's fear.
It's fear that, believe me, a lot of really, really, really very rich, very important people want you to think that way. It's easier to keep you on the hamster wheel and get that certain amount of money they're expecting you from your social security number.
Yeah.
That's a promise, by the way. That's what a social security number is. A promise that this is how much money you're going to generate in your lifetime. And, we owe China a lot of money. Yeah. But that aside, you've got to come from that abundance, I think. And it's a fear. It's an insecurity. Right? It's an insecurity that you're afraid it's going to run out. Man, you just can't approach it like that. That you've really just got to let it go. And just the most prolific writers are the ones who have learned to not get in their own way, learn not to choke it off. It's a connection. I think when you might disagree with me on this, but I feel like people you're closest to your maker when you're creating.
Well, God is a creator. He is the creator, right? And I think part of being made in his image is the fact that we create as well. Not as well. We create too.
We can do busy work and we can do this and we can do that. But when we create things, right? When we're creative, when we come up with stuff, that comes from somewhere. And that's when you're really like in touch with it, And you've got to take that mindset of abundance, and you've got to, and again, good business decision, right? You start rolling out with some really killer stuff, man, and people are going to start talking.
And even if it's incomplete, because the kind of the thesis of this is maybe you're not writing with the hit writers and stuff. You have imperfect co-writers that, or you're writing by yourself, but you don't have the record deal and you don't have the connections. So should I wait? No. Do your best stuff now because you'll have more best stuff. And the more you learn to write that best stuff, one thing, it just clears up space for new best stuff to come in. I have ideas now that obviously I never would have thought of before because I didn't. And
they're more sophisticated. You're a better student of the game, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like there's much more intention. There's a lot more sort of system one thinking, right? Yeah. With writing a song now that maybe was system 2 10 years ago. Where you really had to think about it. And now you're like, okay, no, I know exactly what I'm doing here. I know exactly how to run this route,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Muscle memory. And so that's the big thing on point 3 is just trust that if it's your best song now or your best idea now, it probably won't be 5 years from now or 10 years from now. And if it still is, then you're probably not working enough. Yeah. You're not doing it. If you want to do it for a living, you're going to have to write more songs.
Or you're not thinking about it like a craft, right? Like if you're the one person that's like, well, I got 3 songs and I'm just going to see what these do.
Right.
And if they, whatever, and you don't even know what the criteria, by the way, everybody that says that, they don't even know what the freaking criteria is. Like, they don't even know, like, what kind of movement, how much does the needle have to move before you consider that a success? They couldn't even, nobody can answer that, right? Like, what, if you don't get a Garth Brooks hit from it, you're going to hang it up? Is that what you're going to do? Like, it's a craft. It's something that you do because you love to do it, because you keep getting better at it, and you love the cathartic, the transformation, of starting with an idea and ending up with this beautiful thing, no matter who hears it, and the people who really, really hone in on that and enjoy that for that reason are the ones who are much more likely to be getting paid to do it. Yeah.
You ready for point 4?
Number 4,
the clock is ticking. All right. For one thing, your current best stuff might not even be relevant in a year or two. The market may change. Trends may shift. So you want to strike now while the iron's hot. Also, you are, or at least you should be, growing as a songwriter. So most of your A-list stuff today will become your B-list stuff in a few years, right? But the clock slows. Point. Well, thank you. Yeah, because stuff I used to get really fired up about and write. I mean, I look back at my list of what I've written. So many of those ideas I would not write now.
Man, so hold on.
Past that.
Think about like the first number 1 for Tim McGraw. I don't know who wrote it. You'll probably know, but Don't Take the Girl.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a story song, right?
Yeah.
First act, second act, third act.
Right.
And same girl, same blah, blah.
Same old boy, same sweet girl.
Yeah, same sweet girl. Yeah, exactly.
Fire down the road.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was a number 1 hit song. You can't deny it. Number 1 hit song. Sold a fortune, put Tim McGraw on the map, right? Mm-hmm. As a legit artist. That was his first number 1. And if you brought that into a publisher today, they would be like, nope.
Yeah, they'd be like, that's not what's going on.
Yeah, cool song, but no.
But the market has shifted. Maybe that stuff will come back. But yeah, or
I never thought about it that way. It's like freaking fruit, man. It's like you gotta pick the apple while it's ripe and get to eating it.
Yeah, I mean, you might be fired up about it because it's this, stone cold country thing that, oh my gosh, now Florida Georgia Line's come out and we're doing bro country. It's fallen out of favor, and I was waiting until I could get with Rivers Rutherford to write it or something.
Yep. And the impression, though, but here's the impression. So think about this, here's where it's not about the art, but it is about the art, right? It's more, but it's about the market, right? Mm-hmm. So the impression that you would have if you were the writer and you wrote Don't Take the Girl, and you showed up to a publisher's meeting in 1993, right? Mm-hmm. With that song, they're going to be like, holy crap, this is great. This is awesome. I love it. Same song. Mm-hmm. Clearly it's a number 1. You can't deny the value of that art, right? And how well it was done. But you show up to a published meeting today and they're going to roll their eyes. Like, you clearly are out of touch with the market. You don't know what we're doing. Somebody told you that, right? Like, this is a hit song in the 1990s. Like, and you're like, damn, but, but think about that. Now, let's say you have the opportunity to have a meeting. Okay. Take the context of the hit out of it. Okay. Just the context of the work and the relevance of the work to the market at this particular time. If you're holding on to that idea and the market changes, now you've wasted that good idea because, 6 months ago, you could have gotten somebody real excited about it. And what are they going to remember? They're not going to say like, 6 months from now, nobody's talking, or 25 years later, nobody's talking about Don't Take the Girl as some old school crappy song that isn't going to work today. No, it's a hit song.
It's it, right? Yeah,
it's a great song. It's a hit song. I remember that song. I love that song. It meant something to me in this moment. And that's the same thing. You see what I'm saying? Like, you get into a meeting with a co-writer or a local artist or a publisher guy or something like that, and you have something that's relevant right now. Their first impression is, this guy's relevant. It's awesome. And you both move on as the market changes together, as opposed to you waiting. And that same piece of great work you take 6 months later, and they're like, okay, you don't get it. Yeah. You're out of touch. Right off the bat, you're being judged one way or the other. So, man, I never thought about it that way. That's heavy, dude. Like, you know what? You're smart. You should get a podcast or something.
I could count to 4 in Spanish. Only takes me trace tries.
Trace.
Atkins. So, but the thing is, it does. Things change over time. What if there's that bright shining moment when there were like you had a lot of like country rap or beach songs are really in, or you go through these little micro trends and that kind of stuff, and you I'm gonna hang on to my country rap song till I can write with Colt Ford, and then the market changes or whatever, and like, well, dang it, or whatever it is, or back in the 90s. I got this great swing idea. When Brian Setzer came out with Jump, Jive, and Wail. Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Jump, Jive. Then, So this was there for a minute. If you'd had one of those and you're like, I got one of these, I'm going to wait till I can get to Brian Setzer, whatever. And then it's over before you get it to that person. And you're like, well, now it's a paperweight. Yeah. Now it's just a file on a computer. It's on my floppy disk.
There you go.
Because it was
not only did you miss the opportunity to monetize it and make money, but you also missed the opportunity to be relevant and make an impression on somebody that could
move you up that next rung of the ladder.
Yeah.
And here's the good news too, though. The clock that we're talking about, it slows down for really great work. A great song stands the test of time. And you can only write one if you're writing the very best you can, not holding back for someday. So you want to do your best work as often as you can. So even like Don't Take the Girl. It may not be marketable as much right now because the way that we're presenting those ideas has changed. But if you still brought that into somebody, they would go, well, that's good work. I may not know what to do with it, but that's really well written. It may be dated, but there's pro level writing here. But I guarantee a song that strong or The House That Built Me or what, is going to be worthwhile longer than the ones that are right in the moment, but not that great. They're timely, but they're not timeless.
Yeah.
They can only exist in certain time frames.
Like Truck, another song by Tim McGraw.
Tim McGraw thing. This is a Tim McGraw show. That's going to have a shorter shelf life. Still great for what it is as a hit form.
Yep, number
Very
one.
different, but a song that's more the humble and kind.
Yeah.
Can last a lot longer.
Yep.
So clock slows down for really great work. So while the clock is ticking, don't also worry that I'm not going to write this because it's not going to be relevant. If you do write it, great. It's a great idea. It has a longer shelf life before it kind of expires, or it may hang around until stuff comes back in. You just never know.
But it sets you up to something better too. Like maybe you're not going to write like Humble and Kind and The House That Built Me. Those are like timeless songs.
Yeah.
Right. Like they're not trendy. I don't think
they're not trendy. Right.
They're not trendy. Somebody could record those 20 years from now and it's still going to blow people's minds.
Right. Yeah.
Unlike Don't Take the Girl, which is a killer song, but it's probably
more of its time.
Yeah. More within its time. But remember we had that one episode where we talked about getting closer to your voice, right? Getting closer to your taste through a body of work. Like the more work that you do, like every artist starts out, they have taste. They want to be good. It's trying to be good. But you have to continually work and hone those skills and really get to be a student of the game and understand it. And every time you do that, you get closer to your taste and understanding how to really unlock that and make that connection and do something that becomes all of a sudden not derivative but original, because you know how to put your own fingerprint on it. But you can't do that if you're holding on to stuff, right?
Yeah, if you're holding
throwing
back
up the nuts, man, you gotta get them out there.
Yeah, and I get that. I mean, I still deal with that, because I may have some rights that I'm like, this is probably, best case scenario, maybe like an indie cut on this artist, and but we're in the room. How big an idea do I want to bring? I had one of those earlier this year, and I'm like, gosh, I've been kind of holding on to this one for the right opportunity, right? Because not every song is right for every co-write it at the same time. But it's like, you know what? I think this is in the right setting could be a hit idea. I think it's just really, really good. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and bring it into this. With really two unknown co-writers. One was an indie artist. I'm like, I don't care. I'm swinging because I got more ideas than I got co-writes. I'm going to bring this I think a really stellar idea because I'm going to have more. And I do have more. It's not my only one I'm sitting on. And I brought it in. We wrote it. And you know what? Probably nothing ever going to make any money off it. But you know what? I have more ideas.
But sometimes it could go the other way. I mean, I think there's
where it goes a lot bigger than you think.
Yeah, there's a similar story to, I remember listening to an interview with Garth talking about Bud Lee and Friends in Low Places. And he's like, man, that was like, because I'm sure everybody wanted that song, and Garth got it. Now, Garth wasn't Garth. No. Friends in Low Places. Friends in Low Places is a big, big reason why Garth is Garth.
Oh, right? Yeah, for sure.
Well, but it wasn't his first, right? What was his first big hit? The Dance?
Well, his first single, I think, was Not Counting You. And then he had, I think, Much Too Young was maybe after that. And then If Tomorrow Never Comes, I think was his first number one.
Okay.
Possibly.
But that was like the mega hit, the iconic.
Oh, yeah. Friends in Low Places was the first record, was the single after The Dance. The first single off the second record. So he had The Dance, which was just huge. And then he followed that with Friends in Low Places. You're talking about the 1-2 punch, the end all 1-2 punches.
Yeah.
As an artist.
So still, when you talk about, so
I think he had that before the first record, though.
That's entirely possible. I don't know about that. But that would make sense too for it. But think about this. Like I know a ton of artists. I've worked with a bunch of artists who've had 1 or 2 records, 1 or 2 number ones.
Yeah.
And didn't disappear.
Yeah.
Right. So a song like that, if he was holding on to it, I mean, he could have, on paper, it could have made sense that, you know what, let's give this to a bigger artist because I don't know where this is going to go. This sort of overweight, bald crooner from Oklahoma. Right. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be, I don't know. Yeah. Right? Like there's better guys.
Because you never know.
You never know. Yeah. And then look at what happened, and I know that Warren Haynes co-wrote a 3-way with working on Two of a Kind, working on a Full House. Mm-hmm. And so that came out, it was a big hit by itself. And then the Greatest Hits record came out and that sold like 15 million records or something too. And I'm pretty sure like his third of that song made more money for him than I'll bet than he ever made in the Allman Brothers, dude. In 20 years, you know what I mean? That's like sick money, like sick.
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy money. Yeah.
And so, man, you got to get it out there. Just get the good, you know what? Your reputation is not built on possibilities. Your reputation is built on good work.
Exactly. And one thing, so I get frustrated sometimes because you may have an idea that you're like, oh man, if I could just write this with X artist or whatever, in Nashville right now, there's so much that artist co-writes are getting most of the cuts. And it can be frustrating because you're like, do I want to write my best stuff if it's not going to have as fair of a chance as if I were to write this with an artist?
Right.
Right. So I pondered that and go, oh, do I hang on to these till I can get in the room with an artist? Yep. But you know what? What's my best chance of getting in the room with an artist? Is to have great songs before I get in the room with the artist. They're almost audition songs.
Exactly.
Some of them may get cut, which is awesome. But even if what this song does is impress a producer, an A&R person, a co-writer of that artist enough to go, dang, we got to get you in the room with so-and-so.
Yeah.
It's the audition to get you in the room. Now you got to write a new song. That's
exactly
better. Well, if that's what it's for, that's what it's for. Hopefully they're for more than that. But sometimes I think, okay, that might be what this song is for, is to impress them and go, wow, that's great. And he writes his own stuff, but let's get you in the room because what you did on that is he would love. And part of them go, then he should just cut this. But if that's not how they're rolling.
And keep in mind this. Okay, so let's talk about stepping stones for a second here. Okay, so let's talk about the fact that it's not over if this indie artist cuts it.
No, yeah,
right, not at all. Like it can be cut again by a major label artist who loves it, who's like, Travis Meadows, man. We all want what we ain't got. Mm-hmm. Like go listen to the Travis Meadows version of that. So here's a guy just started writing songs, and I'm pretty sure that was I'm not pretty sure. I want to think that was a solo write with him because I think he works that way a lot.
Yeah,
or he did in the beginning. But then Jake Owen, his record, this little indie record, just was so good. The songs were so good that it ended up being the kind of the sort of record of choice that they were spinning on all the tour buses.
Yeah,
for all the big artists, just loved it. And the next thing you know, Jake Owen's like, "Hey man, would you mind if I cut We All Want What We Ain't Got? And if you listen to the Travis Meadows version, which I highly recommend that you do, whatever you stream on, it's there. And then We All Want What We Ain't Got, and then listen to Jake Owen's. You'll hear Jake Owen, not only did he cover the song, he tried to pretty much cop the production that Travis did because it was so freaking good. Like, just stay out of the way of the melody and the lyric because it was awesome. But there's a situation where that was out, that had a little life. It wasn't doing much, and then boom. And now Travis is on buses with
everybody.
And I mean, even the hard buses to get on, right? Like Eric Church, who flat out told them, like, you ain't on this bus because you're a Nashville songwriter.
Right. Yeah.
Because he almost like disdains them, He's like, no, we do things differently here. That's his brand. But that's Travis, And so there it is again. Do the work.
Get it out there.
Put it out there. It comes back around.
And I know we're coming up on time, but I want to point out that this doesn't mean that every best idea is right for every co-writer. But the point is that you want to do your very best work regardless of who else is in the room. Do your best work regardless of who else is in the room. So your songwriting skills, like a sport, you play like you practice. You might consider those practice rights. Oh, this person doesn't have a record deal. This person's not a list writer. You play like you practice. You bring your A game. If you consider that practice, which I don't think you should, because you might be in the Super Bowl and you just don't know it. Like I was with Aaron. I didn't know I was in the Super Bowl that day. I was just trying to write the best song I could, and so was she. If you don't make it a habit to always do your best, acting like some co-writers just practice, your best may not be there when you need it. When you finally do get in the room with that hit writer or hit artist, and doing your best every step along the way is going to help you get in those rooms. So again, I still cast my ideas with co-writes going, what's right for this co-writer? What's right for that co-writer? Some ideas may not be the best for certain co-writers not because of the quality of the idea, but because of the qualities of that idea, how you want to write it. You may have the super poppy idea that's great, but you're not going to bring it into your super redneck, slow country dirge writer. Yeah. That's just not the right idea for that person. It's not about the quality of the idea. It's about the qualities of that idea that may make it right or wrong for certain writers. So I do still pay attention to that because I want to give the song its best chance with, and give the co-writer their best chance to shine. But again, every time they'll bring your best because you just don't know when one of those might be the right song or the right person is going to hear it and hear something in there that even if the whole song isn't there, that they respond to, and that opens a door of opportunity for you. So, I'd like to hear from you guys in the C.L.I.M.B community. Have you held back on presenting your best stuff to co-writers? How'd that work out? Did you end up getting something that you loved anyway? Have you taken a chance with a co-writer, presented one of your top shelf ideas, and it worked out really well, or didn't? I'd love to hear that stuff. We'll post about this. Johnny always posts about this each episode in the C.L.I.M.B community. Hop on there. Let us know what you think. Yeah. I'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, that brings us to the end of another killer episode of The C.L.I.M.B. Once again, thank you to Disc Makers.
Yes.
Proud to partner with you guys. Join the C.L.I.M.B community. We were just talking about that. If you haven't already, just ask to be let in. We let everybody in. Just make sure you get a picture on there, and there's lots of good stuff going on there. Subscribe to the podcast so that they automatically download, and you can keeps them in order, and you can skip back and forth as much as you like, and leave a rating and review, 5-star rating and review, please, if you can. Make sure that you're careful that you get all the stars that you want to get. We want you to put what you want. I've done that before and I felt terrible. I was like, oh man,
maybe a 1-star wonder.
I
wonder what happened. Oops.
You can't go back and change it. You're like, no.
Edit. All right.
And then finally, share it, man. If it's working for you, it's gonna work for some other people too. They might find something out of it as well that makes you look cool, and it helps us out. We get to more people. So,
also, real quick, one other thing, I have a free gift for you.
Oh yeah.
Yes, you can go to giftfrombrent.com. I have a free ebook there. It's called Think Like a Pro Songwriter. Just boils down some of the nuggets and some of the stuff I picked up from my years in the music business. My gift to you, just tell me where to send it. I send it right out to you. I also put you on the Songwriting Pro Insiders list, so you get advanced notice about special events we have coming up. You get the blog post every week, that kind of stuff. A ton of free nuggets. So that's giftfrombrent.com.
Awesome. All right, guys. So this podcast exists because we want you to win. So keep on climbing.
And we'll see you at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. 14?
No habla.